Hello everyone, welcome back to another Sims 4 building video. I really need to figure out this whole intro situation. It's really bad. Anyway, I'm so excited to bring this video to you guys today. I really hope you like it. As always, if you have any comments, ideas, suggestions, feedback, whatever, please feel free to leave it down in the comments below. This is part one. I will be recording part two maybe today, but if not today, definitely tomorrow. So be sure to watch out for that. So yeah, as usual, this is just gonna be the build part of the house, and then I will do the furnishing in part two. So this house is actually um, a build from reference. So there is this really cute house down the street from where I live, and I walk down the street like every day, if not more than just once a day. And every time I walk past that house, it always stood out to me. And then the other day I was walking, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna build this house in The Sims 4. I'm gonna actually insert a photo of the house so you guys can see what I'm referencing. It just it's really different. It really stands out from all the other houses in the street. Um, Obviously, I had to wing the back side and the layout and all that because I don't know what it looks like from the inside or from the back because you can't go around and see. So I just made that section up. But I think the front it looks pretty legit. Like you'll see like the final product. You can tell me if you agree or not, or like I always say, if you want me to like amend something, feel free to. Let me know, and I can do that before my next video. Um, so the thing is, I was really trying to make it as close to the photo as possible. Um, which, you can't always do everything like it is done in real life in The Sims 4. So some things, it was like the roof, for example, it was very tricky because the house has that, like turret or however you would call it. And then there's like three separate roofs from what you can see from the photo. And I was trying to like match them all up so that it would all look really nice. But then I wanted to like the heights to match as well. And then it was a real struggle. And I actually ended up adding a little bit of room to the side because I just couldn't align the roofs so that they wouldn't like clipping through each other. I don't know how better to explain it. And then the house had this bay window, which we do have bay windows in the game, but the one of the most prominent features of this house is the fact that all the trimming on the windows and the roof and the fence is really this really dark mossy green, and we don't have any windows that match, so I actually decided to build a bay window myself and then use this trim because it matched perfectly, and I was so happy to have it. And like I would have never thought that I would be like, this is something that I want in my game, is a green trim. But you know what, we have it, and I'm really happy that we do because it really came in handy. So yeah, I was just playing around with the roof because I wasn't happy with how it looked, so I did end up pulling the eaves out. I think it looks a bit more realistic because the actual house does have eaves. Also, it is built on foundation, which is quite high. Um, and the roof, the stairs, the like little front porch, and the actual walls, they all have brick textures, but they're all different, but they all kind of go together. So I was trying to replicate that as good as I can with the options that I had available. So, it's not exactly the same, but I'm pretty happy with the end result. Also, this arch, because there is like an archway in front of the front door. So this arch over here is actually perfect. It looks perfect, exactly like the one that the actual house has, but it's really small. So it's not ideal, but all the others, they just didn't fit. So I actually ended up using this one, which is not ideal, but like I said, you can only do as much. You can't do 100% realistic um, replications. I did manage to find this door that is like literally looks exactly like the door that the house has. I was so excited. I was finding some things that were like a perfect match, and it just made me so happy. I ended up using these doors that have shutters on them, which I'm not too happy about, but they were the only windows that fit in the middle of the two tile wall. And then I was trying to pick the wallpaper, which again was a bit of a struggle. Then it's so annoying how we can't paint the foundation the same as we can the walls because I that is so frustrating to me, and that was always an option in the game, and I don't understand how we still don't have that option. And so I had to use this quite modernistic foundation paint, and I'm not happy about it, but it matches the stairs, so at least that's something, I guess. It's just really frustrating that we can't use the same wall paints for foundations and walls. Uh, but what can you do? I don't know. I'm excited. I'm excited to furnish this house as well. Um, I haven't decided on the theme yet. I didn't paint the walls or and floors on the inside. I just did like a layout, a quick mock layout. And I will decide on the whole color scheme when I actually furnish, just to not so I don't like restrict myself too much. Then I was trying to put this. What even is this, like a wall trim in, and it just wasn't working. And then um, I was like putting out the eaves, and then I realized the roof doesn't line up properly at the back, and it was just driving me crazy. And then I actually end up fixing the whole roof. Well, the back side of the roof because it was just driving me nuts. Also, the front section of the roof doesn't really match, but I don't know. It doesn't really bother me there. It just you can't do it any other way. There's just no way, or maybe I'm just really, really, really special. So see, I was trying to line the roof up. He was not having it. It was not happening. So I just ended up deleting the whole roof and then replacing it. I was like, maybe if I try to do it from this side and if I try to do this type of roof, and it just wasn't working. And I was like, I I was getting so frustrated. And I don't understand if it's me and I genuinely don't understand like the dynamics of the game or and how it works, or if it's actually just impossible to do. And then what I ended up doing, which should have occurred to me before because I used the same solution before, I actually just added another section to the house at the back, which then in the end allowed me um, to do two roofs and align them properly, which you'll see what I'm talking about in a moment. But like, look at this. I was struggling so much. I was losing it. I didn't know what to do, how to fix it. Um, it was really, really, really annoying. And yeah, like it took me so long to just be like, hey, just add another room and it'll be fine. Because like I don't know, it's just there's some things in this game that I just feel like surely there's an easier way of doing this. Like surely there is. um so like I said, I even tried like doing like a different type of roof, seeing if that was gonna make a difference, which it didn't. um so yeah, it was it was an experience, but you learn from your mistakes. I will never forget this. See, and then I was like, wait, you know what? Let's just add another room and it'll be fine. Problem solved. Let me tell you, I will never again forget this trick. It was literally like the quickest fix ever, and it took me like what, like almost 10 minutes fixing that roof before. Like it's ridiculous. But hey, there we go. The roof is done. It will not be touched again. um, and then I just decided to add this little porch at the backside of the house because I don't know. I love porches. They're just so good for just sitting outside in the evening with like a cool little breeze and all that. And it just adds a little bit of detail. And I love having the idea of having like bedrooms having uh like outside patios to them and stuff like that, which is what we'll end up doing when we get to the layout. Um, but yeah, this is pretty much the shell of the house done now. I initially was gonna do the whole thing in one video, but then it was already. I think this stream took like 2 hours. And then I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna do quick landscaping, just do a mock of a layout, just to give me an idea of like where the rooms are gonna go, and then I'm just gonna leave it at that, and then do the furnishing next time. And then I was just making sure that there was an actual ceiling above all the rooms, and I was really like, I still don't understand why is that section of the house that's like above the front door, why is that highlighted? Because there is a ceiling there. It's a different color, and I don't understand why. Um, Obviously I don't know anything about this game, and so here we come to the second part. So I don't know if you remember, but in the photo you could see. Actually, I can just put the photo in again so you guys can see. The fence actually has a foundation of its own, which is something I never do and I never think of doing. And I thought it was such an interesting detail, and I really wanted to include it. And so I did. And then I tried to find the perfect fence. And the perfect fence would be a matching color to that roof trim. And there is not one fence in this whole game that matches that color, which is not a shocker, obviously. Um, and so then I decided on this almost like a lime green fence. And then the second problem with this was that there was this, obviously there's a driveway in the game, which I mean a driveway by the actual house, which I wasn't going to replicate because we don't have cars, so there's no point. But I was determined to do this like a grand um like kind of like a door in the fence, but it almost looks like an archway. And I was trying to replicate it so hard, like you will see. For the next couple of minutes, literally, I will be struggling, trying to figure out how to build this archway. And this is what I actually ended up on, and that would have actually worked very well. This, I don't even know what is it called, like wall trim or whatever. But the problem was, I thought if you raised like wall height on one level, then it wouldn't automatically change all of them. But for some reason, in this instance, this all counted as one level, I guess. And so for me to use this wall trim, I had to raise the wall, which raised the wall of the whole house, which you can see in the background. And I didn't want that. And so then I ended up removing that whole thing because I didn't want my walls to go up. And then obviously you can't connect walls of different heights. So I'm gonna work around that in a bit. You'll see, but this is how the general look of the outside will be. There will be a fence, and part of the fence will be on foundation. Just because I thought that was a really interesting detail that I've never used before. And so I was trying so hard to build this archway gate thing. I was trying to do the spandrels and the columns and walls and just everything I could think of, and nothing was working. It took me so long, and then I actually had someone, because this was a live stream on Twitch, comment, and they were like, "You're trying too hard. Like, just let it go and just move on." And I was like, "No, I am determined to make this happen. I have committed to this." And then I was trying to look through buy objects to see if I can like raise something up and scale something up and down and just build an object out of objects. And then I put down all these little random things that I thought maybe potentially could be used to build something that would resent that original structure in the actual house. um it was a struggle, and it is like, honestly, I've spent way too much time on this, but I really wanted to not give up. I was like, I wanna come up with something that's gonna be really nice and creative, and then I ended up using these um like parts of ruins, I guess, and it was okay. It looked, like it could be a thing, but then I was like, am I pushing it too hard? And like, am I trying too hard? Because I do that sometimes, and I'm like, when I'm so determined to make something happen, I will lose sight of the whole bigger spectrum, and then I will just try to make something happen that shouldn't, happen. And then I actually like ended up building this structure, and I was like, you know what? I hate it. So I ended up deleting the whole thing. This whole time, this whole thing for nothing. Just all this time was completely a waste of time. And I just ended up using something completely different, which you'll see in a second. I thought I would leave this in just to see that I really, really, really tried, that I just don't half-ass my builds. And it didn't work. It's sad, but what can you do? I tried. Maybe someone would have come up with something that I completely overlooked. I'm sure that's the case. But I don't know. Yeah. I'm sad. I'm actually a bit sad about it, but whatever. It's done now. Um so yeah, I just popped in the mailbox in the bin just so that I don't forget later on, because I do that sometimes. Um so the third struggle of this build, so after the roof and this whole fence thing, was going to be the terrain, which you'll see in a second as well. We'll talk more about it then. And then, so this is when I was like, okay, I'm going to use this gate, because this gate is actually exactly what I needed for this house. It just doesn't come in the right color. And so the white was just too starch, I think. So I just ended up with the brown, which I personally hate, because that whole green fence was gonna be such a big and a prominent feature of the whole house. But then, you know, there's just no swatches. Like this fence, not great, but if it wasn't green, I would have been happy with it. But we just don't have it, so that's that. And I decided that I will, you know, since I couldn't use the green fencing, I was gonna bring the green element in with the plant. So there's gonna be a lot of plants out, a lot of plants outside, as always. So that kind of like will make up for it. And an interesting fact, I don't know if you noticed in the photo, but there was actually a sale sign at the front. So this house was for sale for the longest time. Somebody did buy it, and they started doing some renovations on the inside. And so the while the house was for sale, it was like a good portion of the year, I feel like. You could see that the outside was getting a bit abandoned, like the grass and the weeds were just like overgrowing. You could see that there was no one living in there. And so I decided to kind of incorporate that into the house. And so I made this front look almost a bit like it's not being taken care of, like it's just out of control. And so I'm not finished with the build yet, but I'm pretty sure I'm gonna leave it because I never do that. And I feel like with this house, since it actually does in real life look like that, maybe let's let's do it for a change. Why not? And then I couldn't find a right, like really just viney looking tree for the front, because there are some like small trees, and I actually ended up using bime items, which I think try to like disguise that pot so it looks like an actual tree. But yeah, so that's a bime item, because there just wasn't any tree that would actually fit in there. Um, which is a bit annoying. I like there's a good tree selection, I feel like, but the trees in this game are all so huge. It's like genuinely ridiculous. And even like sizing them down doesn't really hurt doesn't help always. So we're moving on to the inside. We're just gonna do a quick layout just to get a general idea of how many rooms there are and what they're gonna look like. It is a two-bedroom home, and it has the master bedroom has an ensuite, and there is a main bathroom as well. The furniture that I'm putting in, as always, is just to see if there's sufficient space for everything that we need in certain rooms. Um, it will all be replaced. Don't worry. This is not the items or the color schemes or anything at all that will actually be the final result. Excuse me. So yeah, I decided to do because usually I always end up doing the same thing, which is something that I love, and that's open floor plan. And I was determined for this house not to do it because I find this house a bit confusing. Because when you look at it from outside, it looks like an old house built like in an old-fashioned way almost from old materials, but they kind of look modern, like the brick and like in actual real life the house looks like it's been built recently, but like built as if it's been really really old. So I just thought it was that was really interesting and intriguing. I don't know. So I decided to do a closed floor plan for all the rooms. So there's gonna be kitchen with dining nook in there, the living room, then this is gonna be the second bedroom, which is gonna be a kids room. um and then when I finished the layout, I realized there's not a lot of space, and I decided to do a basement, which is something I never do. I never do basements because I don't like them in The Sims 4, just because I don't like how it's all black around when you're on the basement level. But I ended up doing a basement just to give this house a bit more space for like activities and stuff. And I may actually add another bathroom in the basement area as well. So yeah, I was trying to keep these arches to tie in with the front door. I will also make this house pet friendly, so there will be some pet things lying around when we furnish it. Also, I probably should have put the lights in at the start, but I completely forgot. My bad. Um, so yeah, and then I was like, with the whole fencing not being able to connect it to the house itself, I was like, what if I just move the whole house and then just do an enclosed fence all the way around? But then, I don't know. I just didn't want to do changes that were too far off from the realistic facts from the house itself, because the house also, as you notice, is not centered, and that's because it's actually not centered in real life either, because that empty spot over there would have been a driveway, but like I said, we don't have cars, so I'm not gonna do a fake driveway. That's a waste of space. So I kept it off centered on purpose. um so yeah, here I am, putting in that basement that I just spoke about before. And that's when I realized that I don't even know how to build a basement, because I don't think I've ever even done it. Not in like a really, 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 really long time. And then it wouldn't fit. Well, there was the only spot where I could put the stairs, and then I had to adjust the whole layout um, to fit in the stairs, even the outside. And then I was like, oh my god, I need to move the roof. If this messes up with my roof, swear to God, but it didn't. It was fine. It was fine in the end. I'm actually happy about it because now the master bedroom is actually a bit bigger, which, as a master bedroom it should be. So here's the basement. I don't know what we're gonna do with it, but we'll see. The possibilities are endless. Yeah, and then so this is something that I forgot to mention in the beginning of the video. The house is actually on a slope, so the whole property is actually on a slope. The thing is, all of the worlds in Sims 4 are flat. So if you're gonna build a slope, it's just gonna look like it was like it rose up out of nowhere, which I don't like. That's why I don't usually use the terrain tool. Because if there was a world that you would like build your lot into already like elevated area, that's one thing. But to have everything else be around you being flat and then just having this random risen lot, it looks weird to me. So that's why I never do it. And honestly, I don't know how to use the terrain tool because I never do it, like I said. And then I was trying to just like prove the point that I don't even know what to do with it because like if I was gonna do it, I wouldn't even know how to begin. And then what happened, and I didn't realize that until like half an hour after, was when I was just demonstrating the terrain tool, the part of the house actually got raised, which you'll see later on. Um, and I never realized, and I built this whole backyard, and then after I was done, I realized that my whole house was ruined, and I didn't know how to fix it, and I couldn't fix it, and I personally think that's a glitch. And then I actually had to go back and undo my whole backyard because of that glitch, and then redo it again. So overall, building this house was just an adventure. I didn't know what to do with the backyard anyway. You'll see I'll be struggling, I'll be moving things around. Nothing looked right. Nothing looked like it was where it should be. The fences weren't working, the planters weren't working, the just everything was just a mess. I was determined to make this like a gardening area, a gardening section of the backyard instead of the driveway. And whatever I positioned it, it wasn't working. And then I was trying to make this house and the backyard like kid friendly, so I put the swing in and the bicycle and all that, even though kids can't ride bicycles, but details. Um, and so I was really, really struggling with this backyard. I'm not gonna lie. And then this is when I decided to put in the greenery to compensate for the lack of the green fencing. And this is when I realized there is this random slope at the back of the house, which came out of nowhere. I still don't understand why it happened or how, and I couldn't get rid of it. There was nothing I could do to get rid of it. So I actually had to go undo everything before this glitch happened and then redo the backyard completely. So, yeah, needless to say, at that point, I was really over it. It was really, really, really annoying. Just a lot of double tracking. Excuse me. But yeah, this is pretty much it. The layout is done. The house is done. Here is me redoing the backyard because that's just not even. And so I will finish the outside of the house as well, but the general idea of it is here. You can see it. Um, and yeah, I will post this today and then post the second part tomorrow. So if you have any ideas, suggestions, or whatever that you want, or if there's something you want to change or you don't like, if you have any suggestions or how you want the inside of the house to look like, please let me know. And I will be watching out in the comments for people if anybody wants to, put in their 2 cents. But yeah, it was a struggle. There was a lot of issues, but in the end we got there, and I'm happy about it. Thank you guys so much for watching, taking your time and spending it with me. I hope you enjoyed this house, and I hope you will enjoy the end up product as well. I will see you tomorrow. You have a lovely, lovely day. Thank you so much for watching, you guys. Bye.